Hello everybody, good evening. My name is Marquez Perez with Management 605, and this is my benchmark organization design structure and change presentation, which we will be going over the company that I used to work for and analyze and compare and contrast it with how it relates to conscious capitalism and dealing with different styles of leadership. Hensel Phelps is a construction company, general contractor established in 1937 in Greeley, Colorado. It has a wide range of projects from government to hospitality, military, commercial, aviation, schools. Any given contract value ranges roughly from $20 million to almost $1 billion. Per Engineering News Record in 2020, it is ranked number 13 out of 400 top contractors in the United States. It is currently employee-owned and employs roughly 4,500 employees all across the nation. Those district offices range roughly from Hawaii, Seattle, North and South California, Arizona, Texas, Virginia, Florida, and into the Midwest. My experience with Hensel Phelps is very enriched over a span of roughly 8 years, where I've had several different roles and assignments given. I was a field engineer for the SkyTrain in Arizona, the Phoenix Valley. I was a field engineer at Intel Fab 42 down in Ocotillo, office engineer at Florida Prison, data center, and ultimately became an estimator in their Denver office, and left Hensel Phelps January of 2018 for better opportunities. Hensel Phelps' major issue can be acknowledged by upper management, senior management, down to lower entry level as retention. Roughly about 15% annually of the project staff have been with the company from 1 to 10 years, often quit and seek other opportunities. To me, this reflects underperformance of people management per Fortune magazine's criteria. People management is an important pillar to a successful organization. Hensel Phelps is large enough to be able to afford this scale of loss. However, this does tack on unnecessary loss in profits, especially something that could have been easily avoided through paying management for skills and listening. This issue is also great to cost more in recruiting and training of new employees, and it just reflects badly, and it does decrease the morale. The actions leading up to this are multiple aspects. Few particular could be too much emphasis on the client satisfaction at the expense of the project staff. For example, there is no work-life balance strategy. Most projects usually frown upon those who leave the first who leave the job site, even if it's 7 at night, and the first to get there at 5 a.m. in the morning. An example is the project that I worked on was the Mule Creek Prison. It roughly cost about $380 million of the project value, and it was achieved in such a short time frame, about 18 months, when in reality on a normal schedule would have been 4 years. Due to this, we lost about 20% of our project staff. Another issue leading up was poor retention is a lack of individual recognition. As the project was driving on, cracking the whip with subs and craft and the project staff as well, at the expense of just getting more gains and more profit for the company. Another factor for poor retention is compensation, as it is generally 20% lower than the average competitor general contractor. The organizational structure is made up of stakeholders, CEO, president, with several hierarchies and career paths to choose from. Climate and culture depicts and solemn charge that all employees are builders. This refers to fostering an independent, fearless role to solving the problems and performing well. The word performance is printed everywhere in the company's literature, marketing, and on company vehicles. Overall, this creates an organizational culture which filters in that specific personality. Internally, the individual must be qualified for the job through providing credentials, a college degree, and certification, depending on the sought-after job. Newer and younger managers are up and coming and do facilitate a servant leadership stance, along with an open-door policy. However, the saying, old habits die hard, still run rampant amongst the novice in this industry. Generally, with an employee new to a project, there would be a specific initial expectations created by managers for the employee beforehand, along with routine performance reviews to track the staff. My first project manager did not exercise conscious leadership and was the complete opposite of reflecting those values. He was toxic and hypocritical with presumed relationships and exercised favoritism with only a few. There were other project managers who did much better, however, still would not advocate for the needs of the employee. There were moments of critique, however, they would lack follow-up and a plan to improve. Their community outreach would be one of their strongest strengths, however. They emphasized giving back to the area and would host several causes and raise food and money for local drives. The company gets involved with almost every community their projects are in and make their presence known in an effective manner. Overall, they do demonstrate the principles of conscious capitalism, but seldom within its own. My 8-step plan per coder's change model would be very simple. First off, there would have to be a plan for all manager roles to incorporate an incentive-based bonus of additional S-unit shares for managers that prove positive results for their respective lower-level employees performing and staying with Hensel Phelps within their project's team. The retention issue would need to be data compiled with a cost analysis of what they have lost in the past 10 years, along with the savings amount projected for the new plan to reverse the resignations. Step 1 would be a specific timeline given to the senior management, vice presidents, and shareholders. In this timeline, it would include outline review questions and feedback. The deadline would feed into the urgency along with the financial statements of how much money is being lost in losing nearly 500 to 600 employees a year. With that information, on the second step, I would create guiding coalition. The CEO, president, will conduct a 9-district tour to notify everyone of the change with the recommended volunteers to push this idea and plan through project staff throughout the company. Continuing on, the third step, through the message sent out to all means of communication, it will realize the improvements that need to happen and will break down the plan with the relationship between the managers and employees. Along with that, step 4, there would be a conference event to practice this new plan during the first year entries at each district location. There would be training, coaching, insights shared, prizes even given out, and team building exercises. Step 5 would include high-level management in their respective districts. Will review previous resignations and the project managers they were under and determine the specific cause. Step 6, during the first year, new hires will be asked to fill out monthly evaluations about the company, their coworkers, and their managers. Of course, this would all be filled out anonymously. Step 7, after work activities would occur once a month for project teams with spirited competitions against other project teams to build confidence, teamwork, and strengthen work relationships with the new hires and lower level employees. Along with this, management would have more discussions about the improvements and sustains with their staff and employee up to district management. Lastly, step 8, all stakeholders throughout the company will safeguard the new plan in its early stages through consistent monitoring of progress and maintaining solid, adequate reporting. Challenges to the plan. There are a few. This is a construction company overall and a tough crowd to go with. There are some very seasoned employees who have always done things a certain way. To make it more challenging, those managers are usually proven very effective at their jobs, making them protected assets to the company, despite if their plans are the cause and not cause of the retention issues. Some subsystems could be start small. Most resistance comes from not seeing the end result of the recent change right away. With this, small progressive improvements could show us helping them see the benefit. Another method would be encouraging participation by those affected by the change. Lessons learned. Moving forward, I would design a new organizational structure where its people are emphasized with getting a work-life balance. I would also create yearly retreats for the company to bring their families and give away cash prizes, gift cards, even do a drawing for parents with kids in high school to pay a full check for tuition for a specific university. These are only a few examples of how I would do things differently, as change only has to start with one individual, whether a concept or an action. Thank you so much.